and welcome back to another Perusing the Pages episode. I am here in my classroom because that is right. I am a 7th grade teacher, in case you didn't know. I have a slightly different episode for you today. Today I want to talk about the literacy crisis and just how important reading is. And being a teacher, this is super near and dear to my heart. For legal reasons, I do have to disclaim real fast. This is filmed outside of my contract hours and school has not begun yet. Now that I have dotted my I, let's cross some T's here. I am sure by now, if you're on the internet, you have seen the videos. There's 2 videos that are going around. One is words my boyfriend can't pronounce. And it's a list of vocabulary that they then have their boyfriend or partner try and pronounce, and they usually struggle. And the other one is read this index card. And it's probably high school level, mid-high school, low high school level, people on the street interview style where people struggle to read. The thing that both of these trends have in common is that they are attempting to shed a little bit of light, mostly in a humorous way, of the poor literacy rates that we have. We have some surprisingly low literacy rates. It's really embarrassing. This trend also highlights something that has been growing for a long time, over the past 20 or 30 years, I would say. Now, I have not been teaching that long. That is older than I am, but I have been teaching for a handful of years now. And I'd like to shed my 2 thoughts on that, I'd like to give you my 2 cents. So I'm gonna start with a little bit of data. In 2023, the US Census Bureau did a poll. They took some data of how many 18 and older, so how many adults read at least one book in a year. And in 2023, that number was 48.5. 48.5 people, adults in the US, read one book in a year. That's really sad. That is really sad that less than half of our population in 2023 read a single book, just any book. In 2012, that percentage was 54%. So as you can see, this has been a downward slope for some time. In 2023, the Department of Education did their own data and did their own research, and they polled 13-year-olds and they asked, hey, 13-year-olds, how many of you have read a book? And it was 14% in 2023. In 2012, that was 27%. Now, we expect teenagers to be a little lower because they're teenagers. They don't want to do anything. They're very defiant and stubborn. That's just the nature of who they are. However, 14%. In 10 years, we've gone down more than 10%. That is terrible. The U.S. Department of Education also polled 9-year-olds. How many 9-year-olds read for fun? And in 2023, it was 39%. And in 2012, it was 53%. That's embarrassing, guys. That is not good. And we can see that this is a trend that has been going on for at least 10 years, if not much longer. And I think that there are a couple of reasons why. There are a couple of things that impact why reading has gone down so much. A big rise of it has been technology. Let's just be honest. Technology is a form of entertainment. We unlock so much with technology. We're very, very blessed to have it. However, it is also a huge time waster. We have more emphasis on movies, on music, on social medias, on games. Anything you can think of that is digital takes the place of reading. Reading used to be your big form of entertainment if you wanted to relax, if you wanted to sit down and just enjoy your evening, you had a couple minutes to spare before the bus came, you read a book, you brought a book, you pulled out the newspaper and read the articles. Now, that's not the case. You pull your phone out and scroll for 3 minutes and then you don't even remember what you were looking at. The technology has replaced having a book. Now, there is a very strong online presence for the book lovers. I'm gonna get into that in a second. Technology has really impacted why reading is so popular or why it isn't popular anymore, but there's also 2 other really big reasons why. Home life and school life. These go hand in hand. Schools are meant to support and give additional info to what the foundations of learning are at home. You were supposed to learn basic things at home before you come to school. Before you enroll in kindergarten, you should be able to go to the bathroom by yourself, you should know how to tie your shoes, you should know how to write your name, and you should know your ABCs. Kindergarten, school, it's where you'll learn past that. You'll learn more than that, right? You'll start learning how to write, how to make sentences, how to read bigger words. That's what you learn in school. But the foundation of it starts at home. Just take a moment. I'm not calling anybody out here. Just take a moment and think, have you ever realized that parents who care a lot about their kids' schoolwork and make sure that they're engaged in school have better adjusted and smarter children? Just, you take a gander at why you think that is. School does change once you hit higher grade levels, and all of a sudden, I know, like, I cannot teach 8th grade math. I'm so sorry. I couldn't teach high school math. I could teach maybe like 5th grade math. You start getting into division and like long form division, you pull in fractions. That's when I start to struggle because math is not my forte. I can figure it out. I passed school, but it's not what I am best in. But you want to talk about literary devices, let's go all day, baby. There does come a point when parents can't help with schoolwork anymore. That is normal, right? Because teachers are the expert in their subject. Parents are the expert in whatever their job is, right? I don't assume that most parents are teachers. However, it gets tough because schools can only do so much for reading. School districts put in so much money on certain devices and certain programs that teachers are required to use because they put so much money into them. That's why AI has really taken off in certain school districts because the districts paid for them. And now they're forcing the teachers to use the programs that they paid for to make it worth their money. Schools can only do, like teachers themselves can only do so much when it comes to reading. We can assign reading homework, but if a kid doesn't do it, the kid fails. But guess what? They're still going on to the next grade next year. Thanks, No Kid Left Behind. That's a different topic. They can assign reading in classes, but remember, there's a big push for engagement and making sure every kid understands every level. So if you do reading assignments, you also have to check for comprehension questions. You have to do maybe a discussion question about it. You have to do true or false questions. You have to keep kids engaged and make sure that they're actually comprehending what they're reading. A lot of times in schools, reading isn't for fun, it's to learn, which is really unfortunate because reading is so much fun. As a teacher, your job is to make sure kids are learning, and you have to hit certain standards and do certain things to make sure and show. That's the big thing. We have to have the data to show that the students are learning. So we rely on parents, on a home life. Hey, read at home. Go home and read. Read a book with your little sister. Read a book with your older brother. Read a book with your mom, with your grandma, something. Read a book, please. Pick up a book. Go to the library over summer. Get a book. We expect and kind of hope, we really pray that parents and home life teaches kids to love reading and to enjoy reading. Unfortunately, that is not the case for like 75% of students and parents and homes. We have taken away the required, I remember growing up, I used to have a 30-minute reading assignment every day. In elementary school, part of it through middle school, it changed once you hit middle school, but elementary school, I had a 30-minute reading log that I had to hit. I had to go home, read for 30 minutes, whatever book I wanted, read for 30 minutes. My dad had to sign off that I read my book, and then I would turn it in at the end of the week, and that was my homework for the week. We don't really have a ton of that anymore. It's hard to assign that. It's hard to assign homework in general because kids just aren't turning it in. That's a whole nother. We don't need to get into the details and nuances of education. That's a different conversation. Here's what I've seen from my students. Here's what I've seen how reading has impacted them. My students who read are smarter. Full stop, no other say. There's no other caveat in there. They're smarter because they know how to read. They score better on tests because they can actually read the questions. They do better on ACT and AP tests because they can catch those trick questions that those harder tests put in there. They know how to read. They can comprehend the words in front of their face. I don't think a lot of people realize how big of a problem that is. A lot of times, kids who don't read, you put a test in front of them, and they're gonna do poorly because they literally don't understand the questions or answers. And it's a form of assessment. Teachers can only do so much. What if it's a state-given exam? Teachers can't do anything. They just have to watch you. There's only so much we can do if a kid can't read. But the problem is we can't hold kids back now. And we don't hold kids back now. They keep going. They keep getting pushed into the next grade, even if they're far below grade level. And that is such a big problem. Every year in my classes, we have to take comprehension. We have to take a comprehension test. It is the stamp test. It's to check fluency in Spanish. That's what I teach, Spanish. I have everywhere from 10th grade level readers to 3rd grade level readers in my classroom. And I somehow have to make lessons and assignments that fit everybody. Challenging enough for the kids down here, good enough for the kids, good chunk of kids in the middle, and extra, more things for the kids who are way above reading level. And it's hard because that's just like a teeny part of what I do as my job. If every kid was on grade level here and then I just had my extra kids, that's a different story. We could be doing so much. I would have genius children compared to everybody else. Reading does so much for you. Readers are more empathetic, and there are studies that show this. Readers are more empathetic. Readers have a better vocabulary. They understand context much better. Not only that, but there are health benefits to reading. Reading staves off amnesia and dementia, cerebral diseases that you get with age. Reading can help mitigate that. Just so you know, how we don't encourage reading more is crazy. There's so many benefits that come from reading. It slows your mind. It helps you focus. Why has reading become so uncool and unpopular? I don't understand. So the question remains, how do we fix this? We are in a literary crisis. And I say crisis with full intent. This is not okay. If we continue how we're continuing, we're gonna have a society of illiterate people. It was shocking enough when a couple years ago that one girl got into Harvard and she's like, I'm illiterate, I can't read, it's a disability, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no girl, you don't have a disability, you just can't read. What did you do in school? We need a couple things to fix this. Parents, guardians, whoever's at home, you have got to be teaching your kids to read. Even if it's not fun, even if it's a fight for 10 minutes every day, you have to do it. Please, I beg of you. Make your kids read. Go to the library, check out a book that they will like. There are so many books. I don't care if it's an on-grade level book. I care that they're reading first and foremost. Make them read. Get an easy book. Get a Magic Treehouse book. Those are great books. Parents need to get their kids reading. End of question. End of discussion. Make your kid read. I know it is a fight. I know it's a fight. We read books in my class. It's a fight to get them to read in school. I know, it sucks. It's so hard. You have so much on your plate already. I don't care. Put this on. Move something else off. Put this on your plate. Make them read. I beg of you. Second off, we need to bring back reading for fun in schools. We need to bring back the pajama readathon days where everybody would bring their pajamas and for like 2 hours you would just read. And it was a really fun day in elementary school. We need to bring back letting teachers just read a book to their kids, to their students, to just read the book. You don't have to do the comprehension questions. You don't have to do the true or false. None of that. None of the discussion questions. Let them just read a book to have some fun, to engage their minds a little bit. Let them read with each other, books that they want to read. Bring back our libraries. Let's make them popular again, right? Libraries have so much to offer. They do so many things for their communities, and they are underutilized by a mile. Please go to your library. Go to a bookshop, buy a $10 book. Go to a thrift store. They always have books at thrift stores. They're not always new and popular books, but they always have books to read. We also need to change the education system a smidgen. If kids are below grade level, that is not okay, especially in reading. You're not gonna go a day in your life without having to read something. If you can't read, that is a big, major struggle, and you will struggle with it for the rest of your life. You ever met an adult and you can just tell that they don't read? Like, ooh, you don't read, you're not very literate, are you? You can tell. It comes off in their voice, it comes off in their attitudes. We need to make reading fun again. And there are things online that make reading interesting. I know Book Talk and Bookstagram and whatever the Facebook version of that is, they have a dedicated space for people who love reading. What kind of books they read is another story. Listen, it is not child appropriate in the slightest. Most Book Talk books are not, but it's a lot of adults who love reading. My husband and I both enjoy the Book Talk videos that pop up for us because sometimes it's men being like, these are the books that got me back into reading. Red Rising, Mistborn, The Will of the Many. And I'm like, boy books, cool. And then we see a female creator and she's like, oh my gosh, I just loved this book, and it's ACOTAR or The Love Hypothesis or the Powerless series, whatever it is. We've got to bring back making reading fun and making it exciting. I love using the app Fable because it's social media for books. You go and you can see what people are reading. They'll post quotes, they'll post challenges. You can put books on a wish list. You can say what you've already read, you can review. If you read so many books, you get a little descriptor of what type of reader you are, what books you tend to favor above others, how many reading streaks you have, how many books you've read in a year. I love it. It has really encouraged me to keep reading and maintain that daily habit. I've always loved reading and I've always read, but since getting that app about a year and a half ago, I have read every single day. I kid you not. Because I love the feeling of checking off that check mark of, yeah, I read for 6 minutes today. I read 3 pages. Sometimes it's I read an entire book. It depends, but I read. Is there anything else I want to add on here? Go read a book, please. An audiobook, a Kindle, like an ebook. Read a physical copy. Please just read something. It will benefit your life so much. There are so many stories of the first and best way to crumple a society and a civilization is to take away their education, make them illiterate, burn the books, ban them from reading, and all of a sudden in 2 generations you have people who can't read. They're illiterate. So I beg of you, go pick up a book. If you want a book that's a commentary on what we're facing today, go read Fahrenheit 451 or 1984. If you want some really good fantasy that you really want to dive into. I recently read Red Rising, and my husband is obsessed with anything Brandon Sanderson, Stormlight Archives, Mistborn Trilogy, all that jazz. I always love a good romance. Go read The Selection. Oh, go read Edenbrooke. That's a great one. I loved Edenbrooke. If you want some good horror, go read From Frankenstein. Anything by Agatha Christie is super great. Go pick up the old Sherlock Holmes novels. Those are so much fun. Just read, please. I beg of you, pick up a book today. If you take anything from this video, it is pick up a book. Read it with your kids. Read it by yourself. Make your kids read a book. I don't care. Read a book. In the last month or so, my husband and I have started reading a book together. We read Pride and Prejudice together. We read most of Percy Jackson together. We're on the very last Percy Jackson book right now. And I have found so much value from just spending 30 minutes a night and reading out loud with him. It's fun to do voices and we have a fun time together, but we talk. We actually connect. We trade off who's reading. We enjoy our time together. And I hope that this is a habit that we're building so that when we have kids, we build that into their life too. So many of my best memories come from reading. My mom reading Harry Potter to me when I was a child, reading with my husband now, getting lost into worlds. I've laughed, I've cried, I've been so angry, I've thrown a book, I've torn a book in half before because I was so mad at it. I have so many memories from reading. Please, pick up a book today. It doesn't have to be a super fancy or old-timey book. I'm reading Macbeth right now. You don't have to read this. Read anything that catches your eye. If it's a pretty cover, pick it up. And if you don't like it, you can put it back. There is no one in the world saying that you have to finish every single book you pick up. And if you don't read and finish a book in 2 weeks, then you're done. No. Reading is not a challenge. It's not a game. It's just for fun. Please, go read a book today. That is my big ask of you. And maybe if we all start reading some more and we bring back the fun in it, we'll solve this stinking literacy crisis. Thank you so much for watching. Please like it if you like this video. If you want to hear more topics like this, please leave me a comment if you want me to comment on anything education or literature related. I will have a couple more videos coming out soon. I'm doing the Hunger Games really soon. Subscribe if you want to see more of this. And I will also link my Fable if you want to follow me on Fable.